And if you have that flying internally, say from Austin to New York, you show that and go through the head of the line. So they're already making it that if you waive all your rights and take the special card, you get to the head of the line. Then they're just going to make it mandatory for everybody. David Icke.
Well, that's what they do. I mean, they say, oh, this will be voluntarily for the people to decide if they want to have it, like identity cards and stuff like that. But what they then do is make it so difficult to operate in society without one of them. And eventually they say, well, look, there's so few people don't have them now, everyone might as well have them by law and all the rest of it. These are the techniques they use. And, of course, as we've talked about before on the show, Bush was the problem part of this presidential handover, and Obama's been brought in as the person offering the solutions. And, of course, the solutions are going to be the unfolding agenda. And one of his solutions, of course, is this civil army, in effect, that he's been talking about and Rahm Emanuel's been talking about. And that is another key layer of this policing of the people by the people, which is what you had in Nazi Germany, and that's what tyrannies always do. And, you know, people have got to decide how long we're going to talk about this before we draw a line in the sand and say, hey, instead of sitting here and watching our prison being built and discussing it and debating it, what the heck are we going to do about it? Because there's going to come a point where we're going to cross a line where this momentum is going to be very difficult to turn back. It needs a lot of people with a lot of focus and a lot of disconnection of backsides from sofas now before this gets completely and utterly out of hand.
Well, David Icke, I heartily agree with you, and we're going to talk about a host of issues today. And later in the next hour, let's get into some of your ideas for solutions and breaking free of this matrix. In fact, let's go ahead and start talking about some of that now. Coming up in the next segment, I'm going to play a video clip from a satire movie about sitcoms. But when you watch it, it actually has the same messages that really are in the children's programming and the sitcoms. And they're dumbing the language down, and they're reducing the language and how many words people use. And people are talking slower. And people don't even understand common words now. People are being inserted into the matrix as the eyes tie into the television and the computers, and people are texting to their friends who are 5 feet away instead of talking to them. We are beginning to merge into the machines. We're not programming them. We're being programmed through the machines that have been programmed to program us. And the consciousness is closing down with large swaths of the public, while at the same time, another large group is exploding their awakening, and how you see this battle unfolding as we rush towards what the establishment calls the singularity. So, David, what's your take on that?
Oh, sorry, I thought we were going to a break.
No, I'm saying when we come back from break, I'm going to play a clip, but I mean now...
Oh, gotcha. I thought we were going to break now. No, I mean, you know, this is my area, really, in so many ways, because particularly since about 2002, 2003, I've really gone very, very deeply into the nature of reality, which not many people tend to do. And when you start to realize what reality is, my goodness, does society as it's structured and the way it's structured start to make perfect sense. First of all, it's so important to realize the difference between the body and consciousness. It's not the same thing. Now, you know, we may have differing religions, different people listen to this show, but one thing is kind of common to them, is that some kind of consciousness, soul, whatever you want to call it, is apart from the body and leaves the body at what we call death. Therefore, the body and the soul, the consciousness, whatever you want to call it, are not the same thing. The idea of the conspiracy, the very bottom line of the conspiracy, is to disconnect those higher levels of awareness from what is a computer, the body. The body's a biological computer, and it ticks every single box of that. And what I mean by biological is it's not like a desktop computer where you put data in and you press a button and you know exactly what it's going to do because it's programmed to do that, although we're getting more and more like that. Biological computer means it has the ability to think and assess data. This is what the immune system is doing all the time. It's scanning data, what's happening in the body, and reacting to it as it sees fit in the circumstances that it faces. The idea of the conspiracy is to pull people's sense of awareness, the point from which they observe the world, from consciousness, which is not in this world, it is observing and experiencing this world through the body, to pull that point of awareness into the body. Because once it does that, it's pulled you into the computer level of awareness, the computer level of sense of reality. And what that does, it pulls you into all the programs that are running through the body, like software programs. And these are all reaction programs which get you to react to data, i.e. situations they create in the world, in precisely the way they want us to react. So we become little more than biological robots, which is where most people in this world are.
More and more, I mean, I've always known this concept to be true. This, the scientists and mind warfare experts say it themselves, but now I'm consciously really realizing it. Stay with us.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Got David Icke with us for another hour and 35 minutes. And what David here is talking about is so important. When you're in a view kind of above yourself, outside the world, realizing that this is a biological Earth suit, and that the system knows how to program it with hormones and drugs and war and feedback and sex. When they use sex to sell Calvin Klein jeans, they are going at your primitive sexual centers in your lower brain. This is all a fact. And just to get the public to realize they're being bombarded, they're being programmed, if you can get them to do that, they kind of wake up out of the trance, realize you're being bombarded, realize there's a game. I mean, I don't know how to quantify this, David, but to me, you talk about being outside, of the body consciousness or whatever. I mean, to me, the term I would use is just realize that you are being bombarded with data. Realize that there is a manipulation going on. Knowing is half the battle.
Well, see, this is so important. I'll give you an example. In my talks, I put some pictures on the screen, which are subliminal advertisements. And most people, the vast majority of people, can't see them because that's what subliminal is, below threshold. The conscious mind doesn't see them, which the conscious mind actually sees very little compared with what actually is in front of it. The subconscious mind, however, picks it all up and affects the person's reality without them realizing it by the message that's been passed through the subliminal image. And then I will put the picture back up again a few minutes later, and this is the same with all subliminals. The first thing you see, once it's been pointed out earlier, when you see the picture again, is the subliminal. So when people start to, this is why this area is so important. When people start to realize how it's being done to them, then they bring it from below threshold, subliminal, to the conscious awareness, and the defenses go up, which they don't have to think about them. Naturally, the defense is up once the conscious mind is aware of the game it's involved in. And we need to understand the fundamental significance to the whole conspiracy of something called the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is where we get, along with other parts of the brain, but massively the reptilian brain, our survival instincts. The reptilian brain is basically stupid.
David, let me stop you. This is not debatable about the reptilian brain. This is a scientific name. In fact, put it up on the screen, Google reptilian brain, and show them like a textbook area. That's the lower brain that's breathing, sex, eating, wanting to kill people. I mean, that's your... I'm just interrupting you because some may think, oh, this is David Icke and his other issues with that.
Yeah, no, the scientists call it the R complex or the reptilian brain because the way it functions and the way it reacts is almost exactly like the brain of a reptile or a lizard.
But it is. I mean, in fact, students, because my dad went to medical school, students shown a salt crocodile brain can't tell the difference between with a human lower brain. We basically do have a salt crocodile brain. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what happens is that those behind the dark suits, those in the shadows, who understand all this stuff and have worked constantly for centuries to take it out of circulation among the people, so they're in ignorance of the very means through which they're being manipulated. They understand this, and they target the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is basically stupid. It's a reaction system. It is so computer-like, it's incredible. At that level, the brain does just react like a computer on a desktop, and it doesn't learn from experience. Other parts of the brain learn from experience. The reptilian brain doesn't. Its survival instincts are total. It's constantly scanning the environment, looking for possible dangers as it perceives them. The idea of the manipulation is to give the reptilian brain more and more and more reasons to see things in terms of a threat or a danger, because then all rational thinking disappears, all calm reflection, and let's look at this calmly, disappears, because the reptilian brain is basically just reacting in a panic. Save me, I want me mum. That's what it's doing.